You thought you played me, boy, you made a mistake. Your lies and your games, I'm ready to shake. With every beat I rise, I'm taking back my power. Watch me bloom like a flower, and it's fun. Men be scheming, yeah, and men be cheating, yeah. Men be scheming, yeah, and men be cheating. Men behaving badly. Men behaving badly. Men be scheming, yeah, and men be cheating, yeah. Men be scheming, yeah, and men be cheating. Men behaving badly. Men behaving badly.
Hello and welcome back to the Men Behaving Badly podcast. I am Devette and I am here with some amazing people, and we are here to expose the ego, unpack the patterns, and send these motherfuckers to Skull Island.
Why are you whispering?
I whispered,
it ain't no secret.
Send these motherfuckers to the islands. Somebody else is here too.
I'm Ava. I think our goal here is to remind people that patriarchy is not a personality trait. It's a system.
Right. Don't just be like out here like, yes, I love the patriarchy like it's a party.
Yeah.
Travis, wait, yeah? You want to go to the patriarchy party?
I would. Why not? I'll go to any party. My name is Travis Lee, and I am here as well. And this is our show that we do once a week about men like me behaving badly, like sometimes I do. And you guys, you ladies, bring me a topic every week that I have no idea what it's going to be.
Nope. No,
and you more so, are bringing the topic to the audience, but I am the male surrogate.
You're the audience surrogate, not just the male surrogate, the audience.
And I'm the audience. Yes, exactly. And I am here to speak for all of mankind and everyone else. I'm just kidding. But I speak for myself. That's the only person I can speak for.
I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So yes, I am the Travis, and I speak for the men. And
Travis, and I speak for the men. So I don't know if you all heard the last episode, but we did talk about
quite a few people.
Elon Musk's ever expanding daddy daycare.
Mm-hmm.
We broke down the public unraveling of Isaac Hayes III and Francesca Ramsey, who she's still out here just ripping him to shreds. And bravo
she's still
to her.
Killing it. That's what
she's out here still killing it, while being beautiful. So congrats. We hope she becomes a friend of the pod. If Ava has anything to do with it, she will. And
she friended me on TikTok, and I got excited. I was like, oh my God.
And then
it was a lot.
Yeah. Did we talk about Mark Robinson and his porn?
No, we're gonna save that.
We'll save that. Okay. Yeah. So it was a lot. It was a lot. But we enjoy that Travis is continuing to do this with us. So thank you, Travis.
You're welcome.
And, we don't want to spend too much time here. But has everyone been okay? I know I went away for a little while. I had to go up to Minnesota. Had a little time off, even though it was for doctor's appointments. Travis missed me a whole lot, apparently. I think he cried while I was gone a couple times. His girlfriend missed me. She said I was the Black Mary Poppins. And she's like, you just never know what you're going to pull out of your bag. She sure did.
That's some crazy
shit. It made me happy because, number one, I love Mary Poppins.
Oh, okay.
And I thought Mary Poppins was amazing, and I would love to just pop in on people, spread some magic, and then
fuck off.
Then bounce, get the fuck out of. Right.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Give me my bag and my umbrella. I'm out.
I'm out of here because I fixed everything.
I fixed it all.
And then I got to dance with Dick Van Dyke.
I think first of all, Dick Van Dyke is still out here dancing.
Yes.
Yes,
And
he
he's
is.
like 130.
Yeah, so
we
that
can
and
make that
that's why
happen.
he's still out here dancing, because he's dancing.
Dick Van Dyke, not an example of men behaving badly.
No,
Never.
he's a pretty good dude.
Green flag.
Yeah.
Green
Green
flag.
flag, green
all the
flag.
way.
Yep.
So, Travis, we have
Oh boy.
2 very good stories for you today.
Story time.
Story time. Are you ready?
Go for it.
Okay. So, we don't feel the need to take a break today.
Good.
Unless Ava wants to take a break.
I'm in.
Travis, are you in?
I'm ready for story time. I got my milk, I got my cookies, and I am ready to listen to a story, and I will be attentive and give you my thoughts.
It looks like you're in high school and you're going to go to sleep.
That's how I absorb information.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to sleep. What are you talking about? I'm getting in a comfortable position because my back hurts like hell.
Oh,
I
why
am
didn't
here
you say
listening.
something?
I'm 100%.
I will rub.
No, that won't help. Thank you.
Okay.
It's a nerve problem.
Okay.
All right.
So, Ava, take it away, boo-boo.
All right. So we're going to start with something very timely. March 25th, 2025.
Just happened, Trav.
Just happened, right? 30-year-old Turkish woman by the name of Rumisa.
Yeah,
I'm going to
it's
say that
Rumisa.
incorrectly. Rumisa Ozturk, who is a Fulbright scholar and a PhD student at Tufts University, who's currently in the U.S. on a student visa,
Yep.
was walking through Somerville, Massachusetts on her way to meet friends to break fast during Ramadan.
Yep.
Before she could meet up with her friends, she was approached by 6 masked men in hoodies who had no badges, no identifying marks, and were concealing their features.
They
And
were
she
masked.
was placed in handcuffs and snatched off the street. Just snatched up and dragged away. Now, initial reports were that they believe they were ICE agents. Their reports are now a little confused. They're claiming that they're Department of Homeland Security. But for the people who were there, it looked like a kidnapping.
I mean, yeah, just came and snatched the bitch up. Oh, excuse me. Not the bitch. I am so sorry,
You get
Miss
passionate.
Ma'am. I'm not calling you a bitch.
We get
Like,
passionate. We get
right.
passionate.
Like, I am so disgusted that in the
No, you're
year
just-
of our Lord, 2025, that somebody could just get snatched up off the street by people in black gear and no one did anything. And I'm done.
so-
Because I already caught, like,
I would almost feel more comfortable were they in some sort of gear. No, they were in puffer coats and hoodies
right.
and
Yeah,
masks.
just, and masks.
and masks. And so the footage, because there was a neighbor
Oh, yeah, there's ton of
who
footage.
recorded from their porch, it looked like a kidnapping. And the news
Ah.
reports later said that they believed she was in ICE custody. It's nice, and it took about 24 hours before the ICE website updated to give some sort of confirmation to her friends and her family and her lawyer. They did not know where she was.
Just like the guy, the Palestinian gentleman from Colombia. His family couldn't find him. Ava, I'm not trying to cut you off, but Travis, any initial reactions to what our first topic is?
I'm familiar a little bit with this story. I've seen it run the past week, and yeah, so when you're talking about it, I'm familiar with it. I'm just wondering where it's going with
us?
With this particular show. So this sounds a little bit about like Make It Make Sense podcast, so I'm curious to find out where this goes. I have already thoughts on where it will go with men behaving badly, but go ahead.
Okay. So,
Ladies.
Ava, what did this look like?
You know, my visceral reaction, and we're going to get into, you know, government snatching people off the street. But the thing that triggered me, and I'm going to use that word, was that no one intervened.
Yep.
Nope.
And since these men had no badges no warrant,
Yep.
no identifying features.
Yep.
It's almost a good thing that we have information that she's in ICE custody at this point. She could have been in 15 pieces on the side of a mountain.
Or just,
Right?
they could have just shot her right there.
Are we thinking that it is beyond the possibility that a Ted Bundy-like situation, if we are just going to snatch women off the street and no one intervenes because someone in the group claims that they're with ICE, there's no telling what would happen. I really want women to think about the potential for that.
Yep. I just want to, here's a little bit of what I saw. So ICE later claimed she was a national security threat supposedly tied to Hamas. But there was no public evidence of that. And so even though a Massachusetts judge had ordered she stay in the state, ICE transferred her to Central Louisiana ICE Processing Center. Like, they're in direct violation of a court order. So, like, what? Like, and this is not, like, Ava, like, didn't we find out that this is, like, something that wasn't new that they did? Like, they've been doing this.
It has definitely happened before. You know, it's interesting the way that they kind of justify this. Tufts University passed a resolution regarding Palestine and divesting from pro-Israel companies. Rumesa writes an op-ed criticizing the university's resolution. And then according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the feds revoked her student visa for causing a ruckus. Those are his words. I'm making quotation fingers. For causing a ruckus. The ruckus being the op-ed.
Wait, yes. What? Oh, quotation marks.
Quotation fingers.
Okay.
For causing a ruckus. The ruckus being the op-ed that she wrote. Even though the university says she has not caused a problem, that she is currently a student in good standing. So her op-ed has labeled her as a Hamas supporter. And correct me if I'm wrong, Devette, but her op-ed labels her as a Hamas supporter, which makes her a threat to national security, which revokes her student visa, which is why they took her into custody. Wasn't Marco Rubio in that Signal chat?
I think he was.
I think he was one of the bros in there. I'm pretty sure because he's on. He's on the national security.
He's a Secretary of State.
Yeah, and that's part of national security.
So her op-ed made her a threat to national security.
I really cannot.
But he, is making this thing. And it's interesting. So his stance is that they had the right to pick her up because the feds revoked her visa. And so then that means that she was in the country illegally. There is a certain billionaire who's very close to the president who I believe also overstayed his visa and has not been picked up. So, Elon.
Well, he's a citizen now, though. Now. Okay, so
now
Travis is just like, what is going on? Okay, so wait, Travis. So a couple weeks ago, on good old St. Patrick's Day, ICE arrested Jeanette Vizgara, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, dear. A well-known immigrant rights activist in Denver, outside of Target Boutique. She's been in the public eye since like back in 2017. She sought sanctuary in a church to avoid deportation. So ICE, they'll pounce on you when they can get you. If you see, I have never really seen someone get arrested, like right in front of me. But if I see masked men wearing like puffer coats and hoodies, I'm going to be like, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't think arrest.
That doesn't bring arrest to me. And so, Ava, there was a case that we talked about when we were planning for this. Kitty
Genovese. That's the first thing that I thought
glad
about.
you thought of that. How curious. Yes.
Travis.
Because that is what kills me.
Should we let Travis? Does Travis knows about this? Travis, do you think you could tell us about it?
Well, the gist of it is, without going into too much of it, it was I don't have my glasses on, David. I can't read that. It was the 1960s New York, right? Mm-hmm. And a woman was raped and murdered outside of a building, and people witnessed it and then didn't want to.
Well, yeah, that's the story that's out there in the public. But Ava, do you want to talk about what really happened?
Let's talk about it, because I am a New Yorker. Right. So this case has had a long-lasting impact on New York City, right? And so it's in 1964. Kitty Genovese is an Italian-American bartender on her way home. She drives home. She lives in Kew Gardens. Very nice neighborhood in Queens. Mm-hmm. As she pulls up, a man sitting in his car by the name of Winston Mosley, he sees her. Yeah. He approaches her as she's trying to enter her building. He attacks her right away. He stabs her twice. And she screams, "Oh my God, he stabbed me. Help me." Mm-hmm. Neighbors in this building hear her screaming. One neighbor shouts at him, "Let that girl alone." Mm-hmm. He runs away. No one follows up. They hear her scream, "He stabbed me, help me." Someone shouts, "Let that girl alone," but no one checks on her. Right?
No.
So
wait, that's not true.
No. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Because it's the story's bigger than we.
Yeah. No. Right. No, I read. Okay. Sorry.
Right.
I'm getting ahead of you.
10 minutes later, Kitty manages to crawl to a back hallway of her building, and she's trying to get into the building. The door's locked. Mosley returns. He searches around outside. Witnesses later said that they saw him with his hat pulled low, kind of circling the courtyard in the building. He finds her. That's when he proceeded to rape and stab her multiple times and rob her.
Oh, okay. So he came back for some more.
He returned.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, initial reports, the New York Times, about 2 weeks after the murder, New York Times ran a story on the front page with the headline, "37 who saw murder didn't call police." And that was the story that kind of entered into the zeitgeist, the record, was that this woman was attacked and murdered, and 37 people did nothing.
Oh my God.
Right?
37.
And so that became the standard, and then it was shocking. It riled people up. The claim that basically y'all would hear her screams for help, and that no one called the cops, and that she died alone. That gave birth to what was initially called Genovese syndrome, but was later studied by psychologists and has been now named the Bystander Effect.
Right.
The idea is that when something terrible is happening and a group of people are watching, everyone assumes someone else will step in. And then because of that, no one actually steps in. Yes. Now, the New York Times did exaggerate the story. 37 people did not witness the entire thing. It was actually 49 witnesses in total who either saw part of it or heard screaming. 2 people called the police. This was 1964. It predates the 911 system, so they actually had to call the cops. Mm-hmm. But the police response was kind of like it wasn't a pressing matter because they couldn't really say what was happening.
Right.
And she didn't actually die alone. Another neighbor Not one of the neighbors who heard her screaming. A different neighbor arriving home later found her in the building and kind of waited with her as someone called an ambulance, and then she was taken away. Another witness claimed that his father called the police after the initial attack, and reported that there was a woman who was beat up but got up and was staggering around. That's after the initial stabbing. But again, a woman's beat up and she got up and staggering about. No one actually looked to see what was happening.
Like, they didn't go out there after he ran away.
They never went out there and stabbed her, and after he stabbed her. And so, it does bear the question of, would she have ended up murdered had anyone responded in the first attack?
Yeah, so we have to kind of look at this deeper because she was killed, right? Kitty was killed.
Yes, she did. She did die.
People were horrified that a white woman could be attacked like that, and no one intervened. And it sparked national outrage, right? So we could take it and look at it like how when white women go missing,
it's still a thing.
It's a Dateline story, right? Like, I joke with my friends and say, I don't have an outfit for you for Dateline, man. Like, if you go missing, we share, we've started to actually use the features on the iPhone like they're supposed to be used, and we share our locations with each other because, if one of us gets snatched up, Milwaukee is fucking crazy. It could happen, right? We got, people don't know this, but there's underground railroad passages and shit, and you'll get swept up in the sex trade in a minute. Right? So now in 2025, you got to be kidding me that a Muslim, a Turkish immigrant woman of color just gets abducted in the middle of the street trying to meet her friends to go break her fast, meaning that she was probably hungry, and we just are like, Dodie, we're not going to do anything. Do you honestly believe that I don't know who else is talking about this, but the three of us are the only ones? That's not just the bystander effect, right? Because if it was Gabby what was her name? Gabby Petito, right?
There'd be search parties, right?
There'd be search parties. And no disrespect to Gabby Petito, because that was horrible. And those freaking cops, those freaking cops, that's all I'm going to say. Yeah. But this is racism, this is sexism, this is white supremacy. It's just working. It's just working, right? So the men are behaving what? Badly. Because who is worth saving? Who is innocent? Who is allowed to be the victim? And I throw all of my pencils down.
And who's gonna step up? Who's gonna step up and be a man? And be responsible for more than just yourself, but also the people around you in your community. When I go out with my lady friends, and I go out with lady friends all the time, where I'll be the only guy in a group, and I know it's part of my responsibility. I don't have to be their protector or anything like that. Right, no,
but make sure that we're okay.
Physically,
right.
Physically, I know that I might have to step up at some point and do something to some guy that's dancing on one of my friends, or dancing on my girl, or, dancing on somebody else's girl. Whatever, it's just part of it, right?
Right.
And to see something like this happening, first of all, in public and not do anything. I'm just giving you guys all a few of my short little thoughts on this, and then we can go back into it.
You read it.
So personally, I'm thinking about myself in that situation, and I can't imagine just standing by and doing nothing.
Right.
Okay? Especially not knowing the circumstances of it. I'm not going to watch something like this happen. Now, if they got guns and stuff, of course I'm going to act cautiously. Or if I see them armed or something like that. But I see some dudes in some puffer coats and some hoods. The very least I'm going to do is confront them in some way. Hey, what are y'all doing? Hey, what are y'all doing? Get out the phone. And if I deem it safe for me, I'm going to interject in some kind of, not safe, but, I'm not going to get shot.
Yeah.
I'm going to interject in some kind of physical way, get your hands off that woman. What did she do? Who are you? Who the fuck are you? Who are you?
Weirdo. It's
Again,
so weird. It's like out of
no badges.
It's
Right.
out
A van
of
that says ICE.
Wait.
Right.
It's like, okay, we have to remember that the fucking Cheeto he loves movies. So it's like out of a movie.
Well, it's out of the fascist playbook is the second point that I was thinking about too, because this is exactly what fascists and people that are trying to consolidate power do. You've seen it with Hitler, you've seen it with Stalin, you've seen it with Mao in China. And Putin, of course, and many others, Mussolini. We can go on and on. But one of the things that you do is you come take people in the middle of the night with mass. You don't just show up at their door under official circumstances. You want the fear there. That's part of the deal, is you want the fear that they're going to come snatch you up in the middle of the night. They're not going to come knocking on your door in the middle of the day and, ask for your papers and this and that. They're going to come in the middle of the night and snatch you up and ask questions later because they know they can. They know legally they can, and then they can backtrack later on the legality of it and ask questions. So there's another thing that I'm thinking about. And then...
The only thing that keeps that from happening is for individuals to intervene.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, you have to make noise. Like, I'm so sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
This popped in my head. Like, I was thinking about the lunch counter, thing they did during the civil rights movement, where the sit-ins where they just went and sat at the lunch counters, and then they took they took it, right? Like, that was them, intervening, right? And so, like, I hope I can say this, and it's I want to get beat up, but I know I can't. Like, I can't do that right now. So I want to inspire people to be able to do it. But somebody needs to. But somebody needs to. And
it used to be the young people in this country.
Right.
But for some reason, they're not.
They're not, because...
This happened on a college campus.
Right.
Imagine that this happened on a college campus like Columbia or Kent State or...
In the 60s and the 70s
and 70s, Ava.
They would have never let her.
Even without camera phones. The next day, that school administration building would have been motherfucking occupied.
Yeah, and so, but they're scared. Like, I think they'd want to, but they're scared they're going to get kicked out of school, and their parents have said,
to hell with it.
I know, Travis, I understand. So, but sorry, Ava, but
we also have years of teaching people that certain people are the problem.
Yeah.
Certain people, and there's something, she must have done something.
Yeah, right? But not to get snatched up off the street, Ava.
But the response to that's the thing,
so
right?
Mad.
There's we have to have the 60s and the 70s, those sit-ins, those college campuses that were occupied. That was a generation of people who were truly in a space where they were questioning everything they had been taught, everything they had been told, right?
So
we
is
now
that
have
us? Is that
we
us?
Well, we have not us. I think we have a group of younger people who, while they do claim that they question everything, they make those claims. I wonder how much they really believe that, because there has been a kind of steady feed in, and maybe we'll talk about this another time, but propaganda is a thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's being inundated with media, movies, television that kind of train you to believe that cops and people in authority are correct, and that they shouldn't be questioned. If they step out,
and then if
the cop steps out of line, if the cop breaks the law, if the cop does something illegal, well, they're just trying to get their man. Like, you have to do certain things to, you know, get the results. Like, we like those Dirty Harry and more modern, the Chicago PD Voight, who is a dirty cop, but is also the hero. You know, for a long time, we loved SVU. We loved Stabler. But Stabler has never been stable. He should have had his badge pulled a long time ago.
Right, a long time ago. Season 1.
Season 1. He should have lost his badge repeatedly, but because he's framed as the hero and he's doing what he has to do to save children, to catch the rapists, we give him leeway. And so SVU has been on the air now 26 years. We have an entire generation of people who watch it as a marathon. That is an all Saturday thing. Those things seep into your brain. And so you have, again, to frame it, you know, to frame it this way, we had 6 masked men approach a woman on the street, and really a couple of people kind of made rumbles, but all they had to say was that they were ICE. They did not prove that they were ICE. So it was just a perception of authority. It was just a perception.
They were in puffer coats.
They did not pull out a badge. They did not pull out, they were not in a marked van. You're telling me I could go get 5 guys tomorrow and we can kidnap someone off the streets and no one will stop me if I just say, yeah, we're with ICE. It's insane.
Insanity.
And psychologists have studied the bystander effect for 40, 50 years now. And what they have determined actually is that the larger the crowd, the less likely it is someone will act.
Right.
And we're seeing that now. And when we're dealing with a hostile government takeover,
we're living in a hostile
not responding, accepting authority, not questioning it. In the face of someone getting smashed on the street, in the face of police brutality, in the face of workplace discrimination, if you're not willing to speak up in those instances, you're not going to be Katniss. Like, we need to be honest with ourselves. We're constantly seeing, and we're seeing it now, 1 million people going, oh my God, this is terrible. If I was there, I would have done something. And the reality is, the evidence is showing that you wouldn't. The evidence is telling us that you actually would not. People are reluctant to risk what they believe that they have in order to actually make some sort of changes in the world. Those sit-ins that happened in the 60s and the 70s, those young people felt like they had nothing to lose. Our young people now are misinformed. They believe they have something to lose, and they don't. And so it's like they're taking away our Social Security. They're taking away like job security. We talked about this the other day. We're the first generation that has accepted like we're never going to own a home. We're not going to have a retirement like our parents. So you, in fact, do not have anything to lose. Therefore, you have to act, and it starts with seeing someone mistreat someone at work, but choosing not to say something. It starts when you're in school and you're watching someone get bullied and then you choose not to say something. And then it leads into a woman getting pulled out of a town hall.
Right, and everybody just said anything. Just sat there.
But I thought you guys were the witches who didn't burn. I thought you guys were Katniss. I thought you were Princess Leia ready to lead the resistance.
Listen, I just want to say, I always want to go and can't. So I worked very hard to mentor people who wanted to go and could. And that's what I always continue to do. Because I want to be Katniss, but I can't leap and bound and shoot people with arrows no more. Because I have limitations and I acknowledge them, but I'm still going to try to go. And if I'm outside and I see some bullshit, I'm going to be like, what is happening? Like, at least say, hey, excuse me. I have done it so many times, and people, like, I am probably the loudest person ever in life. I'm big and boisterous, and I fill up a room. People say, that is my, that's a mask, right? Because I'm very quiet when I'm at home by myself or when I'm with just one or two people, unless I get excited about something. And so I am always looking and scanning the room. I get distracted a lot. And in my distractions though, I'm honing on to things, and I'm definitely gonna see someone getting snatched up like they're in the Fast and Furious movie or a spy movie like James Bond.
Right.
They don't even have to be secret. And it's so interesting, Psychology Today quoted New York Times Metropolitan editor Abe Rosenthal. He wrote a book about the Genovese case in the 60s.
Yeah.
And he talked about a chief of detectives who had arrested a man that they deemed a psychopath. And they asked him, like, how dare you, like, attack a woman in front of so many witnesses? And that man's response was, I knew they wouldn't do anything. People never do.
Yep.
That was 1964. It's 2025.
Well,
we have to
we know
do
why
something.
Because people don't care about other people. And it's because that's what we're taught. We're only taught to care about ourselves.
I think our idea of what it means to care about other people and what it means to take action, especially right now, are two different things. So a lot of people, we call them, keyboard warriors or keyboard Karens or whatever you want to talk about, will get online and they'll get very outraged about something, make a post on social media and feel better about themselves for what they've done. Yes. And then when something happens, the next day at Walmart or in the Starbucks or at the post office, they do nothing, say nothing when something like that happens right in front of them. And then we'll go later back to social media, though, and be outraged about it. And our society has kind of led us to make us think that engagement on social media is acting in real life in some sort of way. Right. I know personally, I know how I would act in this situation, like almost to my fault, I would probably have gotten involved. Oh, no. I am the kind of guy when I'm driving down the street and I see the bus stop on the corner and there's a guy getting a little too pushy and handsy on a woman, I will stop. You know what I mean? I will stop and ask her if she's okay. And I've done it many times in my life. You need to get in? Okay, let's go. Whether I just got to take her a couple blocks away to another route or whatever. Right. Like, I will. And, to hell with the consequences. We got to, as a people, take care of each other like that.
I stop when I see young black kids pulled over by the police.
Whatever. Whenever you just detect something wrong, when it stinks to you, and even if it takes you a second, and you get a couple blocks down from what you saw, you're driving down the street, and all of a sudden it goes to you. Wait, did I just see that? You turn around. You turn around and you go back. It's your community. These are your streets.
Right.
You don't know that person, but I mean, and you could also say, but these streets are dangerous. These people, you don't know what kind of guns they have, but I mean, not getting involved is not the answer. No. Then find some safe way to go about it. Go back, go across the street, park, lock your doors, and make a call right now to 911 while you're monitoring the situation.
Right. I have I always say, because we all call each other cousins anyway, right? And so I always just say, hey, little cousin, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. Yeah. Is everything going, do you want me to just watch? Yeah. And most of the time they say, hey, can you watch? Yeah. And then I just sit there and watch and make sure.
Most of the time it's good, but you know what?
And they don't know if we cousins or not, for real, but who cares? We're all cousins, because guess what, everybody? You all came from me. Because guess who's related to the first woman? I am. So,
Me too.
hey, you too?
Hey, me too.
What's up?
What's up? What's
That's
happening?
why, you know what?
Hey, we are.
That's why.
We are
we're-
cousins.
That's right. That's why we love each other
okay.
so much.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay.
And that's why we have to do
so-
stuff, right?
Yeah.
If they can snatch her,
Right.
they can take Rumisa off the street, and no one does anything.
Right.
That emboldens them.
Yes.
It can happen to any of us.
Yes.
And you know what? Some of us are keyboard warriors, but guess what happens when you're on your keyboard and you say something or you write an op-ed that the government doesn't like?
You
So
gonna
like
get
being
snatched up.
be behind the screen of your phone is not going to keep you safe.
No.
No,
And
we're
that's the
not.
way this
All
country
of us are not safe
works.
right now. All of us are
And
not safe because we
it's
all
not
should be
new.
fighting.
It's not new. It's happened before. It's happened to our neighbors. We know how this country is. If we're not watching, this is what happens. And they're doing it in front of cameras, so they don't care that we're watching. So we have to do more than just watch.
Right.
They
We
want the
have a
optics.
history.
Huh?
Of course.
They want the optics. They want the fear.
Yeah.
It's part of the
They
problem.
want
Is
Exactly.
they can't deport everyone that they want to, but they want you to think that you could be next.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is if you physically see someone getting snatched up. They're not afraid of you seeing them snatch someone up. They're afraid of you identifying someone. That's why they have hoods on or masks on, whatever. But they want you to know that you could get snatched up. That's a powerful tool to keep you in control.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my favorite part of the episode. Right? Y'all love it when I bring my psychology stuff and we talk about the isms.
talk about the isms.
Okay, so, we want to name the things that people pretend not to see and follow the patterns and make sure that we call out this behavior and what's protecting the systems.
Yes.
So in this story, it's really more about more than about ICE, right?
Yep.
This is institutional violence. And I was hoping that we didn't get to this as quick as we've gotten to it. But now we're here. So welcome everybody to the violence portion of this fascism regime. So it's wrapped in bureaucracy. It's how white supremacy gets enforced without hoods and burning crosses, just badges, silence, and procedural loopholes. This is also
They're
about
hoods, though.
Well, yeah, there are hoods. They were wearing hoods. This time, it's about misogyny because if Mesa had been a man, maybe someone would have flinched. Maybe if she was white, maybe someone would have intervened. It's how racism, Islamophobia, and anti-immigrant sentiment are normalized so that someone can be disappeared in broad daylight, and we call it policy. Big quotations there for everybody. And what scares me the most is that this is setting precedent. So this, like we said, they've done this multiple times in the past however many years during Trump's presidencies, because there's two now. So this is what our country is becoming. When the government tests to see how far it can go and the public response is just nothing, it's silence, that's not complicity, it's just permission. So the question is, if they can do this now in 2025 with this just level of blatant just boldness, what do you think is coming next, everybody? Like, here's the thing. Mass detentions. What is that? What is that? Like, and this not my business. No, I'm sorry, Ava. I'm just gonna keep going because I'm on my freaking thing up here. Okay, so everybody's like, oh, we can't go there, but we're already there.
We're there.
We're there
we've
because
been here for a while.
Yeah, we're already there.
Right?
Like, it's not your business, but it is our business.
I don't want to get involved.
Because, if this is happening to undocumented women or Muslim scholars or immigrant mothers, why do you think it doesn't have anything to do? Because, seriously, it does. And like we've been talking for a minute, and
The thing that kills me is there's a certain type of people who claim that we cannot have gun control because it's our right to protect ourselves against a tyrannical government.
where are these people at?
Being snatched off the street when you have a legal right to stay here, having your legal papers revoked without a hearing, without
Right, being able
to have your status revoked for exercising your First Amendment right to free speech,
right,
without a hearing, without due process,
right,
being arrested, being moved out of the state against a federal judge's order,
yeah,
being hidden away in a detention center in Louisiana,
yep,
not being able to speak to your attorney,
yep,
and essentially disappearing into the ether of
this-
bureaucratic nonsense.
yep.
That is a tyrannical government.
So yeah, where
So-
are the guns?
Where's the Americas? America. Where are they?
America.
This is the tyrannical
Fuck yeah.
government you claimed you were a well-regulated militia to protect against.
Where are they?
We don't snatch people off the streets in
No.
this country.
Where have all the cowboys gone?
We don't snatch people off the streets, and we're also not a country that lets our government snatch people off the streets. Okay?
Apparently we are, though.
We are not a country that lets people, even if they're illegal. She had her papers and all this, and but even if they're illegal, everyone is entitled to due process in this country, and they're entitled to human rights, basic
Travis.
human rights.
Travis.
And the
Travis.
only reason to do this
Travis.
is to make everyone scared, to provide fear in everyone that wants anybody. We can't control y'all. We can't control y'all, and we can't stop y'all from protesting on these college campuses. But what we can do is deter it by making you scared that you're going to get snatched up in the middle of the night. But that is not our laws. That is not the way we run our country.
The people who have
y'all
to
just
speak up the most are the ones who are most likely to be safe.
Yes.
The ones who have the greatest sense of safety.
That
Yes.
means
Because
white people.
there is a danger hierarchy in this country, right?
Definitely.
So if
White
you're undocumented, your ability to speak out is
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah.
If you are in fact documented and have a student visa,
Yeah.
you think you're safe to speak out. Now apparently you are not.
No.
And then it goes up. If you are a minority, if you are a person of color, you may think you have the ability to speak out, but we know how that goes in terms of police brutality. So the ones who have to do this speaking, the ones who have to put their bodies on the line, the ones who have to link arms and sit in and block those campus doors, are the ones who are most likely to be safe from that. They are the ones who, if they go missing, there's a Netflix documentary.
Fuck yeah.
For
That's-
real.
It's
For
gonna
real.
take- it's
They're
gonna
the
take-
ones who have to be they're
it's
the
gonna
ones who have
take
to speak up.
Susie with some complicated last name
It's going
from
to
some small town in Connecticut.
it's going to be
snatched up
someone
off the
who will
street.
make a salad that's not really a salad
With raisins in
to
it.
be
With raisins
with a
in it.
lot of mayo, and it's going to take that person to speak out.
Some kind of Jello fluff.
It's going to take someone to put
Oh
on
my
their
God.
customer service voice
right
and confront
the
masked
manager.
men.
the manager.
And-
I want to
and-
speak to your
yes.
manager.
I want to see an army of Karens. Stop attacking the poor girl at the counter of McDonald's.
Go attack the manager.
Go
of
ahead
Snatch-
and
America.
of America.
The
I'd like to
manager of
speak
Ask
to
to
him.
speak to the manager of America.
I would like to speak
Elon
to the
Musk.
manager of America, Elon Musk.
I demand.
I demand to speak to the manager.
Because we know that we joke about, the strongly worded emails. But some of y'all are capable of a lot more. We've seen it.
Yes.
Yeah, like
We've
like,
seen what happens when you wanted to get a Stanley Cup and Target was out of Stanley Cups. We saw what happened.
Yeah, I saw what
Start
happened.
acting like these
Lululemon
quote-unquote ice agents were trying to take the last Stanley Cup.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna need y'all to band together, like you are trying to get rid of somebody who you don't like in the PTA. Okay, you know, like
Use your powers for good.
use the powers for good. I need y'all to get together like it's time to plan the Christmas spectacle at your kids' school. All of the food, all of the dance numbers, make sure that all of the costumes. Who is going to be the baby Jesus? Let's go. Because I can't, listen, here's the thing.
The government is coming for your Stanley Cups, ladies. They're coming. They're coming for your Etsy accounts.
Yeah,
Shit.
they're gonna come for all of it, every
And
last
they're
thing.
gonna ban pumpkin spice lattes this holiday season.
Yep, no more pumpkin spice lattes because we're gonna have all this.
If you
corn
don't
syrup.
step up.
Yeah, we here's the thing. I will show up to whatever you plan. I'll be there. I will be there.
I won't.
Travis is coming too.
Okay.
He's got to take me. So we'll come, but we cannot do the work anymore for you. Which is, leads us into what we're going to talk about in our next segment, which won't be till our next time, because we've
So long,
talked.
farewell,
Right.
Auf
Auf Wiedersehen,
Wiedersehen,
say
goodbye.
goodnight. Like, I mean, that's some real. If you've never seen The Sound of Music, you might learn something. Cause guess what's in there? Nazis.
Nazi.
There's Nazis in The Sound of Music.
And on that note,
Good
good night, everybody.
Ava says we need to go. So, next time we'll give you some thoughts on what you might be able to do, and we'll connect it to the other story and wrap back around. And we love y'all. Thank you for listening. Travis, where can they find us?
They can find us. They can email us directly at menbehavingbadlypod@gmail.com, and you can find us active on Twitter and Facebook and soon Instagram. And you can also check us out, the podcast feed, if you're listening to it now on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Try different streaming service. We're on pretty much all of them. And also YouTube.
What about the TikTok?
What about the TikTok? I already said the TikTok.
You can message us on the TikTok.
Yeah.
Men Behaving Badly Pod on TikTok.
Men Behaving Badly Pod on TikTok.
Okay,
Right.
so everybody have a
That's
good night, and we'll come back with the second part at some point.
At
and
some
you'll love
later
it.
point.
Yes, good night.
Ain't got time for the game you play. Once a queen, I'm paving my way. Heartbreak, but I rise from the ash. Watch me dance while I'm making a splash. Ladies be women rising strong. Ladies be in playing along. White chromosomes, so you so high. Cheating and scheming, men behaving bad. Men behaving badly. Men behaving badly.